Hey guys, it's Kelsey. I'm back with another scrapbooking process video, and this is page 2 using this little page kit from Simple Stories. So you guys saw the first page to this double last video, so now this is the following page. They're both documenting the same Christmas time, but the first one was documenting Christmas at my mom's. This one is documenting Marcus's work Christmas party. So I just have this one photo here of me and him. We went to, I believe it's called Bolero now. The name's changed multiple times, but it's a local place that has bowling and laser tag and an arcade and different stuff like that. So we took a picture while we were there. I did the worst I'd ever done at bowling this time, but we had a lot of fun. And basically the entire company went into the laser tag room and they ran out of vests. So me and Marcus decided to not wear the vest so that we could just watch everything, but we decided to still antagonize his coworkers, I would call it. So I had a blast because I would duck behind different walls, and all these walls have different like holes and circles and shapes cut out of them, so you can kind of see people through the other side, and I would reach in and like grab their feet and scare them, and it was a lot of fun. um, and Marcus's boss, who was also in there with us and wasn't playing, was getting a kick out of me doing that, so it was a lot of fun anyway. So I'm documenting this work Christmas party with this one photo of us. I'm starting out by laying out the elements in the way they did, similar to what I did in this first layout that you can see here. I'm trying to make sure these banners are lined up across both pages since they will be next to each other in the book. I want the elements to all line up, and then similar to that first page, I am adding this trim along the bottom, which I'm really happy I got used up. There are still several bits of trim to the left there from my Felicity Jane grab bag Christmas kit that I got, so I'm hoping I can incorporate some more of those pieces. But for right now, I'm trying to glue down all of the main pieces that they have for this page. So there's a couple banners up there. I have this one black frame. My photo was small. I don't know what proportion of photo they were expecting to go in this frame because it's kind of awkwardly sized, but I decided to back this black frame in white, stick my photo down so it kind of looks like it's double matted, and then because the frame was so much longer than the photo, I just decided to wrap some of that red twine along the bottom for some extra detail, and I really like that. It adds that pop of color down there, a little bit of texture. And I'm using some of the trim, so happy with that. I'm just securing it to that frame with some of my tape, and then I kind of have an awkward size left over of that red twine, so I'm hoping I can use the rest of it in that cluster at the top there. That way I have it in a couple spots. But I'm going to go ahead and glue down the photo. I know where it's going. And then there's a pretty big cluster to the right of this photo that they composed with some of the cut apart pieces. So I'm just going to lay it out how they had it. I really like what they did. They have these pine trees, a deer, a little poinsettia cluster, and a title. So I'm just going to kind of piece together what they did. I like how it was laid out. And then there's also kind of a label with another chipboard holly sprig down there. So I'm going to try to get all of this together. Since I did add this squiggly trim across the bottom, I do have to scooch the label up a little bit, but I kind of like that. It makes it more part of that cluster, so I'm not too worried about it. I am putting some foam on the back of this jingle chipboard so it can pop a little more, and so that all these paper layers aren't super flat. And this is where I'm going to figure out the little label, but it works out pretty good. This little holly sprig I also popped some foam up on so that it also has dimension. And then you can see these two circular hearts towards the top. I will pretty much place where they did as well to kind of connect that banner cluster down with this big cluster. And I really like that because there's those circular heart pieces on the other page too, so it really helps make both of these layouts cohesive, although they were anyways, just because it's the same kind of printed background for both. And then now I'm going through all the extra bits. I'm trying to make sure I'm using these little extra pieces where I can. So I really wanted to get this little hydrangea piece used up that has the red joy, because the companion page has some hydrangea elements. So I thought that would coordinate really nicely. And then I was determined to use this gold angel paperclip. So I'm going to pretend that there will be a cluster on the top of that photo with the angel. So I'm trying to just lay it out so I don't forget about it. Putting those 2 heart circular chipboards on some foam, and then now I'm going to put together the cluster at the top. They had that little magical season banner with this little star charm chipboard that's getting popped up on some foam as well. And then I decided just to wrap up the rest of this red yarn and have it kind of stuck behind this piece that's raised up, and I really like that. So I'm going to add a little bit of wet glue just to make sure all of that stays stuck down, because that's a lot of yarn that I'm asking that foam tape to hold on to. But I think that looks really nice. So this is the point where I've pretty much done their part of the design, and now I'm just wanting to complete it and add a few more things. I kind of overdid it a little bit, I guess you'd say, on the last layout. I just kept adding things and did not really want to edit. And since this is the companion page, I want them to match. So I don't really hold back on this one either with adding stuff. So I'm adding this little Happy Holidays tab by that gold angel paperclip. And then I had to trim off the back of this paperclip because there's a weird curve in it that was making it stand, like pop up weird. So I'm just using my little wire trimmers to cut that piece off. But this angel paperclip is going to get stuck down with some additional wet glue. And then to the left there's several different die cut hearts, and a couple of them have hydrangeas and poinsettias in them. So I thought that tied back to the big cluster really well. So I will end up using 2 of those hearts in that cluster at some point. One of the other things I wanted to use, since I do have this big label below the title, is this little Merry Christmas banner that also includes those same florals. So I'm going to stick that down kind of as a subtitle. And then right below it, in just a fine black pen, I'm going to just label it Everdry Work Christmas Party, so that I just remember what this was for. Those are those 2 hearts I decided to add at the top there. They do blend in a little bit, so I pop them up on some foam, and once I give them a little bit of dimension, they pop really nicely. But they're also not distracting because they are kind of the same tones as the background, which I'm fine with because there's a lot going on in this big cluster. So even though I wanted some elements up there by the angel paperclip just to make it its own little mini cluster, I didn't want it to be too distracting from everything else going on. And then there's this little warm wishes sentiment from my Scraps of Simple Stories collection that coordinates really well with this little page kit. So I also popped this little piece up to add over there as well, because I have no self-control. So here's where I'm doing my little bit of journaling, and then I will go in with my gold Heidi Swap Color Shine, which I also did on the last layout, so that will also tie in the gold paperclip and make both pages look cohesive. So that's my finishing touch. And I think I'll bring the first page back in just so you see how they look together again. And then yeah. There we go. So here are the close-ups. I have 2 more Christmas pages I'm going to try to get through this month, and then hopefully it'll be back to our regular scheduled programming next month. I'm dragging my feet getting her Christmas stuff done in May. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.